Hello, Recapped Mystery here. Today, I'm going to explain a short drama film, The Carmen Line. Watch out and take care. Sarah, a middle-aged housewife, is the film's protagonist. Her teenage daughter Carly and her husband Dave reside with her. Sarah is having a great time one afternoon. She is dancing about the home while listening to a love tune on the radio. Carly arrives home from school in an apparent sour mood at the same moment. She takes off her filthy sneakers and throws them away carelessly. Her mother tries to cheer her up by dancing and singing around her, but she doesn't notice and finds it irritating. Sarah follows her to the kitchen while still dancing, but Carly merely lowers the volume of the radio and grabs the dinner dish from the counter. Carly clearly does not appreciate her mother's efforts and takes her for granted. Sarah, on the other hand, doesn't seem to mind her daughter's apathy. She simply increases the volume and checks Carly's bag to see if she has finished all of her food. Sarah then discovers a test paper with extremely low grades inside her luggage. Despite the fact that it is simply a practice test, she encourages her daughter to do better. Carly ignores her once more, as has become a habit in the home. When Sarah inquires, she simply goes away to her room. Sarah picks up her drink from the coffee table in the living room, but it falls from her grasp, as her feet begin to move on their own. She panics and yells for aid. Carly hears her mother's cries and rushes downstairs to find her mother levitating off the ground. She is speechless due to her shock. Three men are attempting to drag Sarah back to the ground in the next scene. Dave, her husband, is one of them. As the other two guys pull Sarah down, he clutches her hand for emotional support. They give it their all but fall short. It's almost as if they're fighting a mystery power that's keeping her afloat. She will not budge from her position, no matter how hard they try. Carly stands outside the door, unable to fathom what is going on. The men eventually leave, but Sarah continues to levitate. Dr. Beringer, their family doctor, is then summoned to assess the problem. He calculates the distance she has risen from the ground and discovers that she is increasing in height with time. The entire family is concerned about this. Even the doctor is baffled as to how this is possible. He merely gets a blood sample from her in order to research it and perhaps figure out why gravity has ceased operating on her. He also pledges to bring in a consultant, Dr. Benham, who may be able to assist her. The husband questions how long it will take, but the doctor assures him that because Sarah is healthy, there is every reason to assume she would be okay in no time. Sarah has been unable to move since that day and continues to fly skyward. She had grown taller than her husband in just one day. Dave buys a bedpan to help her defecate, but their optimism about her recovery fades with time. Because she is unable to leave the room, her father and daughter remodel it to meet her demands and keep her entertained. Sarah's sisters soon arrive at her house to assist her with her daily life. It's almost as if she's bedridden and requires constant care. Every day, they clean up after her. They eventually need a ladder to get to her. Dr. Beringer checks in on Sarah on a regular basis to see how far she has risen since the last time. He keeps track of the maths and discovers that she is being pulled up at a faster and faster pace as time passes. To stop this, he makes her wear a belt with weights inside it, which slows the rate of elevation. This, however, does not help Sarah's cause, and she nearly approaches the roof. Dave becomes angry after witnessing no results from the doctor's experiments. Sarah begins wrapping a blanket around herself while sleeping on air at night. Dave adores his wife and makes every effort to spend as much time as possible with her. He has moved from the bedroom to the living room in order to be with her at night in case she requires anything. Sarah's consultant, Dr. Mary Benham, does not come for another week. Sarah is now on the ceiling, struggling to climb any higher. The doctor introduces herself and extends her hand to shake hers. She apologizes for not arriving sooner and asks how they are dealing with the issue. Dave makes a joke about the ceiling not being a good location to keep a wife. Sarah's situation does not appear to surprise the doctor for some reason. She takes out a measuring tape and measures the distance between herself and the floor. Dave offers the doctor a cup of tea and instructs Carly to prepare it. The kitchen is a complete disaster without Sarah's assistance. Carly pulls a soiled mug from the sink and rinses it before filling it with tea and delivering it to the doctor. The doctor's demeanor shifts after realizing the gravity of Sarah's illness. The family had been expecting her to appear and miraculously cure Sarah, but they quickly discover that she, too, has no idea what the problem is. The doctor warns the family that because their case is unusual, nothing is certain. According to what the physicians have observed and studied, Sarah will continue to rise at a fluctuating but growing rate. Dave asks the doctor, nervously, if she can bring Sarah down, to which she apologizes and says she can't. The weights will slow her down, but carrying more of them will hurt her. Their best bet is to wait for the issue to resolve itself. Sarah will reach a height of 12,000 feet in roughly 10 weeks. She will require oxygen to survive from there. Even after that, she will continue to rise, and they will have to keep her warm and watch her eating. Sarah eventually comes to the realization that she cannot be saved. The family also acknowledges that she will rise to the heavens until her death. Carly mentions that her mother is in orbit. Dave loses patience and demands that the doctor act, but she claims she can only do her best to keep her comfortable and that there is no known method to save her. Dave slices the floor around Sarah's head at night to allow her to soar up. He is violent while cutting it, almost injuring her. As the dust descends on the impoverished woman, she screams out to her daughter for assistance. Carly, on the other hand, completely disregards her mother's pleas and turns on the water to avoid hearing her. Dave eventually finishes the hole and takes his wife's hand in his. Sarah's mind has entered Carly's chamber. Her mother intruding her private clearly bothers her, despite the fact that she has little control over it. The next day, Carly is studying for her final exams while Sarah observes her in silence. She needs to pee but doesn't want to wake up her kid. She apologizes afterwards and asks Carly to phone her father. Carly simply brings her the bedpan and assists her. She then sits down to study, but she finds it difficult to concentrate with her mother in the room. Carly informs Sarah that she would be unable to take the examinations this year due to the circumstances. But Sarah lashes out at her. She does not want to be a hindrance in her daughter's life. Dave and Sarah's anniversary is a few days later. Sarah's sister has been invited to dress her up for the occasion. Dave compliments her on her appearance, stating she looks like an angel, and the two giggle at the absurdity. Even during a crisis, the pair celebrates and drinks together. Dave climbs onto a table and kisses her. They eventually establish sexual relations. Carly arrives home from school one day to find her mother moaning in pain. Dave has apparently tethered her leg to the ground to keep her from flying away, which is really painful for her. He sits on the door, unable to watch his wife scream in agony. Carly dashes upstairs to find a knife to cut the rope. Sarah has exited the house in the following scene. Dave and Carly use a crane to reach her and bring her food and supplies. They supply her with adequate food, oxygen, and water for her journey to the sky because this is likely the last time they will see her. Carly provides her a phone and a battery so she can contact home when she needs to. She's also brought a music player, so Sarah can listen to all of her favorite songs when she's bored. Following that, she is forced to wear a hefty backpack in order to rise at a slower rate. Dave remains silent and merely observes as the daughter passes her the provisions. He hugs his wife tightly before departing, knowing she will never return. The family says a sorrowful farewell. The next day, we witness Sarah flying across the skies. She can hardly be seen from the ground. She is engrossed in a crossword puzzle to pass the time. A drop of water falls on her book unexpectedly. It begins to sprinkle as she wipes it away. She removes her cap and puts on the hood of her jacket to stay warm. Sarah looks down at the earth with binoculars. A few days later, she pulls out a packet of biscuits that Carly had given her and notices that she is nearly out of them. She contacts Carly and inquires as to what she is preparing for herself. She has started eating baked beans and toast every day since losing her mother. Sarah is concerned about her and advises her to eat well-cooked meals, but Carly is clearly not interested in conversing. She responds in single words, mostly because it is difficult for her to communicate to her mother, knowing that she would die one day. Sarah apologizes for bothering her and says she misses her, but Carly cuts her off before she can finish. Sarah becomes distraught following the phone call, so she pulls out her music player to help her relax. But, unfortunately for her, she drops it. She loses her cool and screams in frustration for a few seconds. Her screams attract a flock of birds, which instantly lifts her spirits. She eagerly sweeps her hands around in between them, Dave misses his wife terribly and turns to booze to alleviate his grief. It begins to rain heavily one night. Sarah is wearing thick garments, yet they are insufficient to keep her warm. She misses her family but has little she can do about it. She makes it through the night by hugging herself warm. The next day, she reaches a higher altitude and requires an oxygen mask to survive. She takes off her disguise and dials her husband's number. Dave rushes to the phone and inquires about her well-being. Carly also runs in, anxious about her mother. Sarah assures Carly that she is very proud of her and will always love her even if she fails her tests. Dave continually requests that she replace the oxygen mask, but she refuses. Instead, she requests that they move away from the hole in the ceiling. A bag falls through it seconds later. Sarah has resolved to let go of her life. According to the two, Carly collapses to the floor and clings to the bag, pleading with her mother to return. Sarah glides higher into the sky as the sun rises. She smiles as she tells her spouse that she loves him and hangs up the phone. The phone eventually falls through the ceiling. Sarah's death is being mourned by both the father and daughter. It's been a few weeks since the incident. The ceiling has been fixed by the family. Carly makes tea and breakfast for each of them while studying for her finals. Dave detects a shift in her behavior following Sarah's death. The film concludes with them eating their lunch in silence. The end. Please subscribe to assist the channel, turn on notification and leave a like. Thank you for taking the time to watch. See you again soon.